Welcome back to Sika Strength and welcome back to Sika Stand. Today we're reacting to Misha Koklyev and Alexei Lovchev doing some bits in the gym. So Misha's YouTube is quite large. It's all entirely in Russian, and obviously I don't speak or read Russian, neither does Dara. So there's a video of them lifting in Lovchev's gym where they work up to some lifts, and it's an hour-long video, so obviously we're not going to be looking at the full hour-long video. We just clipped out some of the big lifts in the video, and we're just going to have a little reaction to them like we always do with other weightlifting. But in here, we've got two superstars.
Yeah, it's the ultimate bro sesh, really, isn't it? Like, it's two massive, strong lads training together and then chatting about it in between.
There's lots of exposition here, lots of soliloquies, as obviously two super heavyweights are wont to do, where there's lots of leaning in between sets, there's lots of sitting down in between sets, lots of talking between sets, reps drop off quickly after subsequent sets, and Lovchev, of course, Lovchev is possibly Russia's best modern day super, probably best active super, definitely in the last 20 odd years. He had a clean jerk world record, 264 kilos in terms of like rush in the country. Misha is one of the greatest strength athletes of all time. Here's a clean and jerk from him. I believe this was 250 kilos.
Good God.
So Misha competed in strongman, Misha competed in powerlifting, Misha competed in weightlifting, and did incredible numbers in all of those and competed in very high competitions in all of them. So literally one of the best strength athletes ever. He's 45 years old here, and they are doing some bits. Here's a 150 kilo hang snatch. Lovchev, of course, dislocated his left elbow 2 years ago. Unfortunate.
You can kind of see that on the lockout there. Now, they were talking about their elbows and about their lockout. Obviously, it's in Russian, so we don't know what they're talking about. I assume they're alluding to that, or maybe what they're working on in terms of that lockout. But you can definitely see it on the catch position at that 150.
Lovchev, I believe, was definitely one of the lifters who could have pushed left if things had been left go. Obviously, that 264. And Misha always had such old school technique. He had technique that reminded me of when we went from not allowing contact with the body in the snatch, clean and jerk to contact. And it's really brushy and floaty if you watch his snatches, but he still did like 200 or something in competition. And you can tell this man hasn't been racking a bar in a while.
Yeah, that's the thing. You see how much muscle mass he's maintained into his mid-40s, and it's obviously amazing. It's down to massive amounts of effort and previous training history. But unfortunately, holding on to that much muscle mass, the front rack position does get fairly compromised.
See, I don't think Misha did much weightlifting in the last, maybe 10, 12 years.
Okay.
And if you're going from, 30s in your shape to in your 40s and not doing any weightlifting, that rack position isn't going to be there, especially if you're massive.
No, and he holds so much muscle mass in his upper body. Like, the size of his chest for a weightlifter is absolutely gigantic.
Well, he is an all-rounder.
Yes.
Lovchev here is working up to some clean straight into split jerks, so he works up to 210. And Lovchev's technique is somewhat unorthodox in some fashions, but his clean is incredible. He's such a dynamic cleaner for a super heavyweight.
Yeah, his speed as well on the lifts, like on the snatch and the clean and jerk, his speed is so good. You don't usually see that with the super heavies.
Here's a little clip of his 264. That was in 2017 in Houston. He tested positive for a peptide after. He said it's for his knee, ipramorelin, which was one of the few peptide bans we've seen in weightlifting at least. And then, obviously, he did a bit of strongman for a while in Russia. Then we did the domestic ban, the entire ban of Russia from sports. And then he was doing 230 clean and jerk in a competition in Russia and just dislocated his elbow. And that's one of the things in weightlifting that I would love to know is, are those elbow injuries? We've seen Om Young Chul. We had Anranik Krapiadin from Armenia dislocating their elbows, and it's the scariest part is, did they know what's happening? Did you have elbow pain for ages? Was your shoulder sore for 3 years beforehand? And then, or was it just a freak accident where you didn't feel it? Like, if you rupture your Achilles or you tear your ACL, because of the nature of tendons and ligaments, you just don't feel anything in them. And is it similar for that elbow dislocation? It's brutal.
I have to imagine that there's some warning signs.
Surely, you'd have to think so.
I hope to God there are, because that is one of the most jarring. It's not only that the weight's over your head and that weight is coming crashing down, But in many cases, it's a full-on compound fracture, and you have bone through skin and flesh.
Sometimes.
It is, I think it's one of the most jarring injuries in sport.
Well, I think because when they're screaming as well, it does. So then when the lads moved on to some just under the knee block pulls. Pulls are fantastic for weightlifting. The big thing with pulls is we're always looking for more volume over intensity. So we're looking for a appropriate intensity range, but super maximal pulls, really heavy pulls in weightlifting just isn't super beneficial. Sometimes it is a little heavy single the odd time, but mostly what you're looking for is volume and those to maintain those positions and work this exact positions that you have. And they're working up to 325 here from that low block.
I think the interesting thing here is how fast they are just at that point of contact. Like, they're incredibly fast. Obviously, 325 is an insane weight to be doing, but most incredibly strong supers don't look that fast at the point of contact. It's probably because they never do those incredibly heavy pulls. But like that aggression in that, the very end of his second pull is amazing.
Well, Lovejeff loves doing those heavy pulls, but what you often see is when weightlifters who are very good weightlifters go do heavy deadlifts, they always are kind of slow off the floor, but then their second pull speed is immense. Like Alex, if you put in the video of Clarence deadlifting like 320 with a hook grip, the first pull is like barely moving and then it just powers through. And I think obviously it's representing the force velocity curve of a weightlifter in a deadlift, like in one movement. You're seeing it, the first pull about 80% of the speed of the second pull, and then we're hitting warp speed in that second pull, especially in the clean, because we need the clean to move fast because we've a heavier weight, less distance to move it over. And this is actually a great variation to do that in your training if you need to work that second pull speed. So if you're going above the knee, you're going to be in a shit position. You're going to crank your hips under. You're going to be too vertical. But from below the knee, you can set your back, have your shoulders over, and still work that speed. And you get that transition point worked as well, which is a major faux pas for a lot of people.
Now we're on to the ultimate in the bro set, really, is just maxing the squat by doing a random amount of reps and gradually doing less reps on the way up for all the sets.
Don't forget here now, before we see the top weight that Misha does, he is 45 years old. He is well retired. He's just a media guy now, having fun, playing the accordion, shooting guns.
Fully deserved to be having fun as well.
Lovejeff just goes under the radar sometimes for being one of the best strength supers, So obviously he's a fantastic super in his own right for snatch, clean and jerk, but we saw a 320 pause squat recently from him.
Yeah.
Wait till you see him squat 300 kilos here. It is just absolutely sickening the speed he hits things. And he's pulled as well. He's just like, he pulls like 320, 340, 350 with just casualness is all you can describe it as.
I imagine each of these lads in their head have a number in mind. And as they're building up, they're like, I hope he doesn't want to go 320.
I assume Lovejeff doesn't get out of bed for anything less than a 300 kilo squat. I assume the bar doesn't go on the rack.
Yeah.
Whereas Misha's probably, obviously Misha's massive.
Yeah.
Or Mikael, massive squats. I think he's like one of the heaviest 5x5s high bar in video of all time.
Really?
I think, I can't remember his exact number. Maybe Alex, you can pop that in there as well. But Misha is massive front squats, massive snatches, massive muscle snatches, massive deadlifts, massive benching, massive strict press, massive jerks, the 270 behind the neck jerk.
Big strong guy.
He is the definition of a big strong guy.
Yeah.
Clydesdale, a Shire horse. Lovejeff. 260 means nothing to Lovejeff, I assume.
Nothing. I assume this is like as you're warming up and you go from like maybe 15 kilo plates on the bar and you just pop on the 25s, And it doesn't mean anything. You don't have to pay any more attention. The lads are laughing about these weights, Garth.
Well,
they're having the crack.
Alexi's name is on his plates.
Yeah, that means a lot, doesn't it?
He's such a nice squat as well.
Yeah.
So we got that looks like 260, I'm assuming, at least.
Yeah.
And they're like, I feel like he's being respectful and just modulating his squat based on what Misha's doing for the day.
Which is fair as well. You
Yeah.
have to kind of give precedence to the older dude.
Okay, so 260 for Misha.
It's funny when you see him turn around at the bottom. He has a bit of a forward lean, but his back is just so strong it looks like he's supposed to do that.
Yeah, I assume ankle mobility, when he's not been using it, has declined a little bit. He's not, I can't imagine he's doing a whole amount of deep squats maybe at the moment. We've seen him do lots of block pulls, and he's wearing pretty flat looking weightlifting shoes. So here's 300 for Lovejeff. Do a set of 8 with that, maybe a set of 6 to 8.
I would certainly think he could do 5 with that.
Okay, so here's Misha attempting 290 uber wide grip.
45 years of age. Oh my God.
So we're like, oh no, Misha misses 290, laughing about it. He's like, oh, okay. He might have done a squat in ages.
Yeah.
Coach is disappointed even though he's not coaching, but that's...
Coach is not happy.
Coach not happy.
No.
Coach isn't even Misha's coach, but he's still coach.
Coach is looking at the camera and the phone in the gym being like, this is why you missed it.
Coach just said you went too heavy. Coach put on his G-leg because he's sickened.
Yeah.
Coach is going home.
No, his heart has run cold. He's leaving the gym.
This is not terrible. So I'll tell you a funny story. So we were at a national training centre before in one of the stands, and we won out the lifter or the coach, but there was a very good underage lifter who set a junior world record in one of the older weight classes, and his elbow was fucked, right? And hang on, well, let's watch this. Misha's gone for 280. Let's go, big boy. Nails it.
Not a bother on him.
So the lifter is clearly in immense amounts of pain. Maybe something like a UCL tear or something. Just crazy amounts of pain. Can't even straighten his elbow. Can't do a snatch with a female barbell. So they go over to front squats. Coach is disgusted. Coach is like...
But this is like as he's walking around.
His elbow.
Like he's holding his arm.
Coach is disgusted. They go do front squats. Work up to like zombie front squats. Sometimes a grip, sometimes not. And to like 210 or something. Athlete says, I'm obviously in a lot of pain, or I'm assuming what he's saying he's in pain. I don't speak the particular language they're speaking, obviously. And coach just goes like this and leaves. But then another coach comes in and it's like talking to the athlete, trying to rehab him and trying to look at stuff. And then one of the other nations was there as well, and that coach is a really nice, caring, kind coach, and is like trying to help him rehab and look at him and stuff. And they're like, we'll get our physio to look at it. But the original coach was just like
straight out the door,
disgusted.
Yeah.
Clearly, this athlete is in immense amounts of pain, like very bad pain, and the coach is just like, oh, get out of here.
He just walked out.
Leave.
Walked straight out. He had an appointment with a cigarette outside.
And that's how your coach should act. If you have an injury, that's what you should expect. So thanks for watching today's reaction. I enjoyed that video.
If you need help with your weightlifting technique or you need some video feedback, the best thing possible is to get on the Sika Strength app. Once you're on the app, you have access to our members group. So we have 2,500 athletes operating in the members group. Every week you get to submit videos to myself and Owen. We answer them in our coaching feedback stream. So whether it's a video of your snatch, your clean, your jerk, your squats, your presses, whatever it is, if you need some feedback, get on the app, get into the members group, and you'll get that weekly feedback there.